All right, well, over here on this side, what we're gonna be talking about is wig coloring. How many of you have colored a wig before? Okay, only a few of you. Here's the thing, we wanna demystify the wig coloring process. It's something that we've kind of kept hidden a lot of the time as hairstylists, and we're like, pretend it's not a wig, but I'm all about exposing it and teaching education of how you can color it. Because the cool thing is, with a wig, it's more difficult actually to color than a regular head of hair. Any of you that have tried it can shake your head and agree with me on that one. So here's the most important thing. It's all starting with the preparation. So you want to make sure that you prepare the wig by properly cleansing it with a clarifying shampoo. I love to work with Redken Detox, and it really just removes the buildup and coating that's on the hair. Before I get into talking about this one, which I'm actually going to color live on a human. I know, I'm crazy. But I want to talk to you about this one here, and we'll take these clips out so you can see the end result of this gorgeous custom lace front wig that we created for her. And the cool thing was I wanted to go with the pink color story because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, right? Yes, absolutely. So I thought this would be a good little vibe to celebrate that. And so I want to talk to you about the formulation first before I pass it on to the girls. I worked with Redken Shades EQ Gloss. How many of you work with Redken? Nice, we love Shades EQ Gloss. This formula up here, I'm gonna turn her so the camera can get it. This really cool soft pink tone. What we did to create that was I worked with 6 VRO, so level 6 violet rose. I added equal parts of clear to it in the root area. I applied the zone 1, and then I went in through the mid-lengths and ends with what I had left over and added more clear to it. So that's how you get that really reflective, almost metallic kind of feel with the finish. Throughout the front here, what I did around her face frame was I wanted to actually do a reverse face frame. Oftentimes we see the hair the lightest around the front. I wanted to go ahead and add some impact through there. So I went in with Matrix. Anyone work with Matrix? This was a So-Color Cult Formulas because Redken doesn't have vivid colors, so I went to my sister brand. We went in with some of the pink and the violet tones and melted those together. So what I'm gonna show you is how I created that over here on her, and I will pass it down the row.
Thank you, Sean. Always, as always, that looks beautiful and dreamy.
Thank you.
So right over here, obviously, I'm working on some texture, and there is surprisingly a beautiful color story as well. So I do want to talk to that. My wonderful model, Iris, came in with a level 3 hair. And I always think that it's so important to showcase the sort of just the diversity of texture and all the things that can present itself on this type of hair. So to be able to create this beautiful dimensional mocha, I was able to do a double process. I did a double process with 10 volume using developer that obviously has bonder inside to really just make sure that I'm preserving that curl pattern. And then I lifted her to about a level 7. And then I was able to go in and tone her with a mocha, a 7 and a 6, so kind of right in between those two. And then I went in and re-highlighted her on top of that, again, keeping my developer low, keeping the integrity of the hair intact, and then I was able to, again, go in and deposit a 10 mocha on top. Right now, I'm actually in the styling portion of this, but I love how just even styling the hair shows the depth of really that deeper base with the nuances of those lighter tones of the mocha just harmoniously mixing together and living within this beautiful bounty of texture. On to you, Sonya.
Lovely, Michelle. So good afternoon. It feels like evening, but good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sonya Dove. I've been with the Ulta Beauty Pro Team for, I think, about 4 or 5 years now. And yes, you know what? We have a lot of fun. You're going to see it and feel it today, I can assure you. So I wanted to share with you, I love color. I work with a brand called Wella. And yes, oh, there's some Wella users. Come on, a bit more, a bit more. So here on my model, beautiful Nicole, this is a creation I created. This is all Nicole's hair. I am one day going to learn to do wigs from Sean, but it's going to take me a while because I'm so used to just doing the person's hair. She has a ton of hair, and my inspiration is that sort of American hustle. I love that sort of 70s, 80s feeling. And she's got lots of thick hair, and I wanted to do color blocking on her. And I do color blocking in a sort of a different way. I work in the salon a lot, an awful lot, so I'm all about doing something quick, fast, and easy. So this is the end result. So we can see these beautiful pops of orange, beautiful pops of red, and also other pops of a pink. The way I love to do redheads is I always add pink mixed tone into my cool violet colors. So the formulas I have here, I've used 3 reds. And the way I talk to my guests in the chair in the salon, I work in Ulta Beauty in Santa Monica, California, is I describe the reds in the way they see reds. I explained to Nicole here, I'd like to do a really rich, deep Cabernet Shiraz type red. She got me straight away. I don't say cool red or violet red because that would be something that she wouldn't know. Then I've created a red, like a cherry red. And then my third red is an orange red. So 3 reds, orange, cherry, and violet. So the placement of Nicole's hair, I just turn around here. You can see, hopefully, Chad can... Hi, good morning, Chad, how are you? Here, within here, we've got lots of different pieces of these tones. So imagine the technique like a sandwich that you eat. So I am going to be taking this concept and doing it step by step on my lovely model here, Gia. So end result, the placement, so Chad, if you could bring your wonderful camera here, the placement is here, so that's cooking, and I'm going to be actually repeating this on this side. So I'm going to let my team people say a little bit more while I start to mix up my color, and I'll get you on round 2 when I get a chance to speak. And thank you from the bottom of our hearts to see you. And really, really this weekend, it's what I needed personally, because it's been a rough couple of years. It really has. We all know that. And to be back in this hairdressing community just warms our hearts. So thank you for being here for us, because we need people. We're in this business because of people. Thank you. Just had to get that one in.
Well, how do I follow up when Sonya cries?
Oh, she's gonna make us all cry.
You know, it happens every damn time.
It's called menopause.
All right, so what I did here was I sectioned out like a teardrop shape on the top, and I'm working through the underneath layer. This is where I'm switching up my formulas for this one, just so you guys will be able to see a different end result. And shameless plug, where you're gonna find this end result after is my Instagram, @SeanGodard. I'll have it posted once she's styled and finished. But, so what we're doing here is I'm applying 07P in Redken Shades EQ, so that's a level 7 pearl. And the thing that I want you to see on this camera is this type of wig, there's a few different types. This is a machine wefted wig in the back. So you guys can see the tracks are on there. It's sewn onto a mesh cap. The front area is where the lace actually lives. So sometimes wigs are a full lace, in which case you won't have the wefting track and you can apply it a bit more easily like a human hair color would. But in this case, because it's row by row, I really recommend you take each row at a time to apply the color and make sure it gets really saturated. As you guys know, just like with hair extensions, that weft area is kind of thick. So you want to make sure you get a good saturation with it by being really nice and clean and going row by row. So once I get this base color all the way applied through on the zone 1, then what I do is alternate on the zones 2 and 3, the mid-lengths and ends, with 2 different formulas. One formula will continue to be the 7P. That's gonna give me like I said, it's a pearl tone, so it's gonna be an iridescent kind of violety blue result. And the other color that I'm gonna alternate with it is 010VV. So that's a violet in our Shades EQ bonder inside, and that's gonna give me like a soft pinky violet tone. So once I get the roots on, you'll see me just pulling through the mid-lengths and ends, and basically every alternate section that I take will be an alternating color. Now, here's a tip for you when it comes to the front, when it comes to coloring around the lace. Depending on what product line you're using or what type of hair color you're using, you want to be very cautious of staining the lace. The reason being is because the lace is what's giving you the illusion, keyword illusion, of it being her hair. I'm going to spin you around to the front to check this area out for me. So if we zoom in with the camera there, you can see that is where the lace area is up close. and it's been glued down so that when I pull on it, it's not gonna come off, it's attached to her head. But that is the illusion that the lace gives. So if you were to color it with, like, let's say a permanent color, sometimes that will stain the lace, and there goes the illusion. You're gonna have the same ring that you would get on your client in that case. So the good news is, any of you that are Redken users in the house, Redken Shades EQ does not stain the lace, no matter what level you're working at. So you really don't have to be as cautious with this particular product as you might have to be with some of the more permanent colors. I personally love to work with demi-permanent and direct dyes on wigs because the hair that is in the wig has been sourced from many different places. But I should say people. You know, the hair comes from different people. So what you're gonna find is there's a lot of variances in porosity. So that's why really setting up and cleansing the hair, pre-treating it with some protein treatments. I love to work with Redken Cat. It'll really restore and even out the porosity. Now, what I want you to see is in this area where it's full lace, I can switch to a vertical placement. I prefer to do root shadows in vertical placements because the hair lives horizontally. So if I'm putting in a vertical blend and if there's a chance that I don't get the best blend out of it, it's going to give me softness when it falls back down because each kind of vertical line has been pulled out to a different point. So whenever you can, go vertically, but because it's machine wefted in the back, you may have to work up horizontally. So I'm just gonna continue finishing up getting this root shadow on, and I'll pass it to Michelle.
Thank you, Sean. Right here, what I'm doing is considered advanced texture styling. I just want to sort of trace my steps and let you know where I started with her. This is a wash and go, right? So that's pretty basic, a wash and go. She has what would be considered type 4A curl. So when you have a type 4A curl, the goal is to create as much elongation, as much volume as possible, and as much length as possible. One of the things that the tighter textures really don't enjoy about their own hair, is that there's so much shrinkage. And so the maximized potential of how glorious and how big and how voluminous that hair can be sometimes gets compromised in the drying process. So one of the things I did was a very deliberate diffuse and drying of the hair that allows me to sort of not necessarily scrunch the hair up per se, but dry it in a very still manner. Now, once you dry the hair very still, it'll preserve that curl pattern. I used the new product line from Matrix called the Curl Can Dream line. I used the styling cream because that had the weight, it had the moisture. It allowed me to really go in and define those curls. And then once those curls are defined, then I can go in and sort of pick out the roots. Now I can create some type of visual interest just on that little side panel. And what you see me using here is sort of, if you remember from back in the day, the topsy tail that we would often use to sort of take the ponytail and flip it inside out, and it would create sort of like this twist on top. So I just, I hear Sean talk about like partings and sections, and that follows you no matter what you're doing, whether it's cutting, whether it's coloring. There's always intention and purpose in how your partings exist. And so this right here is a classic pinwheel parting. Right? So this is a pinwheel parting, and I basically have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 partings, 10 mini ponytails, and I'm using the topsy tail tool to just insert and pull the hair through to create almost like just this little beautiful imagery that you see on the side. I'm going to continue to do that and create just an accent. And this sitting beside a lot of volume coming on one side is just going to give her that extra oomph, that extra sort of like swag to her hairstyle, more than the typical. She might have come in and said, I want to, take it up a notch. I want to look a little bit more elevated. I want this to be Instagram worthy. So that's what we're doing here.
Beautiful, beautiful, Michelle. So placement, let's talk about placement. I started off on Nicole's hair by taking a section out on the top crown and pinning that up. Imagine that's the bread. Then I have in a sandwich. Then I have my underneath section here. So we've got 2 sections, so that's the bread underneath. So imagine the filling, which is a very large section in between that runs from one side all the way around to the other. What I did big chunks, as you can see. I use my hands and my fingers. I take a piece of hair and place it in a foil, and I do one on the top, one on the bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. That's what gives this beautiful internal coloration through Nicole's hair. The colors used was from Weller Colliston Perfect. I used a level 8 in one, which is an 8 copper, 8/34. And then in the other one, I used 77/44, which is a cherry red. And I just put these pieces in internally. So that's the ham and the cheese in the middle of the sandwich. I'm getting hungry. Are you? I'm not.
Oh.
So here on the front, for this area here, I'm just picking up my fingers. I have a section in the sort of the block coloring sectioning that we're seeing a lot of at the moment. And I just picking up one piece, placing it in my foil and scrunching. I'm going to leave another piece of hair out and push that out to one side. And then I'm just taking my fingers and putting in my next color. So orange, red, orange, red. Once I've applied all my pieces, I then just went in with my base color. And my base color is Weller Colliston Perfect, and it's a level 6. It's 66/46, and that is a level 6 intense red violet. So that's my Shiraz, my Cabernet, my Pinot Noir,